Welcome to Flow with Shreya. I'm Shreya and today I'm bringing you another pose breakdown. Today we're going to be going over Chaturanga pose, also known as four-limbed staff pose. This is a foundational pose for any vinyasa practice, and it's the one that helps us set up for arm balances, inversions, and much more. So it's really important to get this right and to practice this pose so we can get stronger. So if you want step-by-step instructions and to learn some tips, tricks, and modifications for Chaturanga pose, come flow with me. Chaturanga Dandasana, or four-limbed staff pose, is a foundational pose in any vinyasa practice. It's part of sun salutations, it's part of your vinyasa, and it is one of the poses that helps you build the strength to prepare yourself for arm balances, inversions, and much more. There are definitely modifications and variations you can take when it comes to Chaturanga Dandasana, and there are also some tips that I'll share with you that might make this pose a little bit more accessible to you or help you challenge yourself. If you have them, grab a couple of blocks because you might want to use them. So set them aside for now, and we'll start out by talking about Chaturanga Dandasana. This posture is essentially a tricep push-up, if you will, but there are a few different alignment tweaks that we can take to make this the most effective strengthening posture possible. Oftentimes, this pose is rushed through as part of a transition in a vinyasa. When you really think about it, if you are performing many vinyasas within your practice, you're doing this pose a lot of times. So it really helps to have good alignment. All right, enough talking, but let's get to it. Start on your hands and knees. We'll take a moment here just to think about alignment. Now, typically, you'll do a chaturanga from a plank pose. Now, this can be a plank on your knees or a regular plank. In either situation, you'll start out with your palms on the ground, or wrist, elbow, shoulder, all in one line. Now, you want to take a second here just to strengthen your shoulders, engaging them, maybe rounding your upper back a little bit. And then take another moment to point your elbows back and the insides of your elbows forward, just as far forward as you can. They don't have to be completely forward. You'll have to go with your own range of motion here. This is the space you want to start bending from when you're going into your chaturanga. Now let's step back into a plank. Again, you can come up and keep your knees lifted, or you can bring your knees on the ground. Again, point your elbows back, strengthen through your shoulders, and take a moment to engage your core. Breathe here. Then inhale, shift slightly forward so your shoulders are right around your knuckles. Exhale, lower down just halfway. Inhale, come back up. In most postures, when you stack your joints, you create more stability and more strength. So the more we can keep our wrists and elbows in one line, and then elbow and shoulder close to in one line, the better we are in terms of stability. I've seen many people tend to go way past their shoulders, all the way down here, and I've probably done it in the past too. But the truth is, in a chaturanga, you really don't need to go down past 90 degrees. You can stay at 90 or above, and that's where you'll really build the strength, because you're holding your body up. Another common thing that I see in a chaturanga is when people just dump into their upper body. Now, while this pose does require a lot of upper body strength, it also requires your lower body to do the work and your core to be engaged. So in this space, coming back into your plank, just think about your joints. Think about stacking not only your wrists, elbows, and shoulders, but think about stacking your spine, your shoulders, your hips, your ankles. Try to create a straight line as much as you can when you lower. Exhale and lower. Inhale, come into your upward dog. Exhale, lower the knees. Shift back into your child's pose. Breathe in and out. Now go ahead and grab your blocks, and I'd like to show you a couple of ways you can make this pose more accessible to you. Take your blocks and place them tall side up, about shoulder width distance. bringing your fingertips right behind your blocks, come into your plank pose. As you inhale, shift forward, exhale, lower all the way to your blocks. Inhale and rise. Come onto your knees, shift back into your child's pose. Inhale, come back to your tabletop, lift into your plank. Inhale, shift forward, exhale and lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower onto your knees and come into a seat. Now this is one way to help you focus on your alignment and also give you support in your shoulders when you're lowering down. Another way you can support yourself in a chaturanga is to take a firm pillow or a bolster against your torso on the floor to support you as you're building strength in your shoulders and arms. If you have trouble with your elbows winging out in this space, again, take a moment when you're in your plank to rotate your shoulders to point your inner elbows forward. And if you still have issues, you can use a strap to hold your shoulders together. Remember, chaturanga can always be done from your knees. Another way you can use your block is to place it sideways or right underneath your chest. Again, this will help you figure out where to lower down to. Inhale and lift. Another thing to think about when it comes to chaturanga is where your neck is positioned. Many of us, including myself, tend to lead with our necks and chins when we lower down rather than leading with our hearts. Now this tends to be because a lot of us have a slight tech neck. We spend a lot of our time in front of computers, TVs, phones, hunching forward. Our neck starts to come forward, and that just tends to be how we lead. So when you're practicing this posture, think about pointing your gaze slightly forward towards the top of your mat and leading with your heart. You want to try to keep your neck and your upper spine as much in line with the rest of your spine as you can. Again, creating those stacked joints, creating as straight of a line as possible. So let's try that. Come into your plank, whether it's on your knees or not. Breathe here. Again, rotate the elbows forward. Take a moment to shift forward, exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Point your gaze forward, exhale, lead with your heart as you lower. Inhale and lift. Engage your core, exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Exhale, come back into a seat. Now trying all of those tips, you might notice a slight difference in your chaturanga. The truth is, it is hard to remember all of these things when you're in the middle of a flow. This is when us teachers come in, and the hope is that we guide you with cues while we're watching you or while we are thinking about these tips. But also keep in mind that the more you practice, the more you focus on one tip at a time, the more it'll just become second nature and your body will just remember those patterns. Again, remember that the strength you're building here in your shoulders, your upper body, your core, this is going to lead to you going into things like arm balances and inversions if that is your goal. When it comes to alignment, it can be really difficult for many of us to figure out where our body actually is. You might feel like you're doing a certain thing, but really you're not. And what helps with this is if you can film yourself or ask a friend or family member to take a video or a picture of you while you're doing this posture, it might help you think about where you need to make some changes, where you need to make some tweaks, and what pieces of that alignment you need to work on more. I know this is one of the ways that I was able to learn the things I can change in my practice, along with the guidance of my teachers. What's even more important than how the pose physically looks, though, is also how it feels. So if you feel extra pressure in your shoulders or elbows, you might need to make some tweaks there. If you feel like you're just dumping forward, you might need to work on engaging your core and your legs throughout this posture as well. So just notice each time you practice this posture, how your body feels. Where do you feel it the most? Is your weight and your strength evenly distributed within your body? Just think about and notice those things, and as you practice more, or work on improving whatever you need to improve. If you found this helpful, it always means a lot to me if you take a second to click the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Also be sure to share this video with those you care about as well as on social media. If you do share it on social media, be sure to tag me at Flow with Shreya. If you have any more questions about vinyasa or any other poses, let me know in the comments below and I'm happy to help out. If you want to practice your new skills in a flow, check out this vinyasa playlist right here full of vinyasas, and YouTube thinks you'll like that video down there. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.